Kansas City Royals Summers here did not hit all that well, but when we talked to him yesterday, he said, oh, how he'd like to play full-time in this ballpark. There's Brown, one of the top return men in the league, Olympic speed, and we're set to go as Fuad Bruves, the former Dolphin and Chargers, gets it underway, spins it down inside the 5 to Ron Brown. Brown to the 26-yard line and bumped out of bounds. Michael Brim, a defensive back, got to him, and here is Jay Schrader, and the Raider offense protected by Graves. Wisniewski and Mosbar go to the Pro Bowl. Montoya is an alternate and right to tackle, so the strength of that line right in the heart. Schrader with Marcus Allen and Steve Smith behind him. Willie Gault and Mervin Fernandez, the wideouts. Ethan Horton at tight end. When they go to 3 wide, Smith goes out, and Tim Brown, who's had a couple of good weeks back-to-back, comes in. Come out with both wide receivers to the left, and Schrader puts it in play at the 27.
Wide open, Dick.
Willie Gault, no one near him, and it's Willie Gault stumbling, and they'll down him at the 17-yard line. Only Gault losing his balance saved a touchdown against Jerry Burns' Vikings.
Both safety men bid on that fake toss. You see the fake? Jay holding the ball. The Raiders rarely do the play pass early, especially, and look down the field. Joey Browner completely fooled. They were just on their heels that entire play, and Willie Gault had to stretch just a little too much to retain his balance. His speed doesn't help him too much now. It's just keeping his balance, and he can't quite do it on this surface. Beautiful call. Beautiful execution.
56 yards. That's the longest pass completed against the Vikings this season. 45 was the previous high. Vikings rated #1 against the pass in the NFL. And Gault having his best year as a pro. The toss is to Marcus Allen, and he gets close to the 15-yard line. Mike Merriweather, 3 times a Pro Bowler with the Steelers, made the tackle. There are the men in purple: Noga, Clark, Thomas, and the Pro Bowler Chris Dolman. Mark Dusbovic, Studwell, the veteran, retiring this year, and Merriweather, the backers. Lee and Rutland at the corners. Lee, a Pro Bowler. Browner again in the Pro Bowl, and Stills, the safety men. That's the change they make in their nickel. Michael Brim comes in as the 5th defensive back.
They've already substituted Ray Berry for Studwell, so Berry, number 50, an excellent middle linebacker with a great futures in there, replacing the great veteran Studwell.
It's Allen again. Caught in the backfield and dragged down by Merriweather. Mike Merriweather from the University of Pacific.
This Minnesota team is excellent against the pass. They've had trouble against the run, but they're just coming up the field, and they're beating the blocker to the point of attack. They're just beating the blocker, and Merriweather in particular. He's a great veteran player. Another part of a trade made, in this case, with the Steelers, but again, Minnesota most likely gave too much up to get Merriweather.
And for a #1 pick last year, Carson had a lot of #1s left in that Viking vault. Schrader on 3rd and long, hits a touchdown. It goes to Mervin Fernandez as they beat Michael Brim, the extra defensive back. Fernandez with his 5th touchdown catch this year.
Did that look easy? Schrader was out an hour before the game with Mike White, just practicing these kind of plays, a full hour, and that is right on the money, right over the top. And Brim just doesn't have close enough position defensively. He lets Fernandez get too far outside of him, so there was no play on the ball.
And for Jay Schrader, who went 0 for November, December has come, and looking ahead to the playoffs, he is as hot as his running back, Bo Jackson. And he starts with a couple of great throws. Jager adds the extra point, and it doesn't take the Raiders long. 2.5 minutes. Impressively, they drive to an opening 7-0 lead with Schrader hitting Gault for 57 and Fernandez for the score.
Watch Stills bite on that run immediately. First play of the game, he's going to stop Marcus Allen. He flies up, and there's a big hole on the backside. Browner is trying to catch Gault, but he's not about to do it unless Gault slips. Great play, great design, and this is not common to the Raiders to come out and go after people.
Jager hits it very high toward the sidelines. Allen Rice takes it, and Rice along the sidelines to the 22-yard line. So the Vikings will put it in play there. There's your touchdown maker, Fernandez from Schrader, 17 yards to give the Raiders 7-0 lead. Wade Wilson starts at quarterback. First time since the third week of the year. Zimmerman, McDaniel, a Pro Bowler. Loudermilk, Kalis, and Irwin to block for him. Anderson and Walker open in the backfield with Carter and Carter. Anthony and Chris on the outside. Steve Jordan, Pro Bowler, the tight end. They go to their passing set. These two men come in. Allen Rice into the backfield. Hassan Jones, the third wide receiver.
Don't be surprised with a play pass early in this game by Minnesota. They think that's the way to get to the Raiders. Fake the run and throw the ball down the field.
Well, it worked the other way, didn't it? Here's Herschel. Walker across the 25 to the 26-yard line. He's rushed for 654 yards this year, a 4.1 average. Tough front four and long. Goldick leads in tackles. Davis having a banner year, and Townsend a Pro Bowler. The backers, Jerry Robinson, Ricky Ellison, Tom Benson, a veteran core. McDaniel and Washington at the corners, and Harden and Anderson the safeties.
That defense looks better every week, doesn't it? As you look at those individuals, they're all playing so well. Golick, Ellison on the camera. Oh boy, they're playing well, and they're the solid kind of guys that allow the great ones to make the big plays.
Wilson's first throw. Protected well. He goes underneath and complete to Carter, the former Eagle, and he's close to a first down. Wade Wilson, third game of the season against the Bears. He said he caught his thumb in Richard Dent's face mask, and there's the scar as they repaired ligament damage. Came back last week and now starts today.
Last play of the game in that Bear game, and that really put the Vikings out of business in many ways so early on. This guy, from my 49er experience, I know he can come up with a big game. He's inconsistent over a period of weeks, but the big game is in him. He can do that.
Well, when he was injured, they lost that game to the Bears, and then with Gannon taking over, lost 4 more, 5 in a row. So they opened the season 1-6. Then Gannon got his act together with experience, and they won 5 in a row, giving the Viking fans some hope. And then the last 2 weeks lost to the Giants and to the Tampa Bay Bucks on the road, and now their playoff hopes very dim.
By the way, Rich Gannon is an excellent young prospect. Those games that he played will help him sometime in the future. He's big, he's active, he's a lot quicker than most quarterbacks. But in the meantime, to regain respectability, it's going to have to be Wade Wilson.
At 6-8 are the Vikings. Burns has always had a winning season in his previous 4 years. Here's Walker with a hole, and he blasts out to the 39-yard line, a gain of 7.
Well blocked. Steve Jordan, the tight end, did a beautiful job of double teaming and coming off. You'll see him, the second man in, double team, and then coming off for the linebacker. Did a beautiful job. So they are blocking that Raider front. Both teams, Dick, are running very similar defenses. It's what you'd call an undershifted defense that protects the linebacker. In this case, Benson of the Raiders, number 54, is protected. Dave Adolph has adapted more of the Raiders style. He came in with a 3-4, but they've gone right to that 4-3 style that Al Davis has appreciated so much.
Alfred Anderson with his first carry, the 7th-year back from Baylor, and he's near the sticks for a possible first down. Greg Townsend, he makes the Pro Bowl, and that makes things interesting for Townsend because he has in his contract that he can renegotiate with Al Davis with a Pro Bowl nomination, and so it will be. The offseason will be a happier one for Townsend.
Townsend is going to come up the field hard, but he's being blocked very, very well there. That's a nice job of just turning him back to the outside by Jordan. And by the way, Herschel Walker was up as a flanker. You see him at the bottom of the screen, and he did a fine job of blocking, an excellent job. Herschel has as much athletic ability as anybody that's ever played the game.
Anderson, no hole at all, tried to give ground, and then a swarm of Raiders led by Townsend to get him.
Well, that was an unlikely call. That was a counter play that took pulling people, and they ended up needing only about, 2 feet. And here's Townsend coming up the field, reading the inside-out block and being positioned to make the stop.
On comes punter Harry Newsom, 5th in the league with a 42.4 average.
That really shows a lack of confidence to go with that kind of a running play, a delayed type play with 3rd and inches.
At the other end, Tim Brown still looking to break a punt return. Brown at the 19. 30. And Oh, he had a crease up the middle to the 35, a 16-yard return for the former Notre Dame Heisman Award winner. Owner Al Davis looks on, has to be pleased with the early going. Welcome back to the Metrodome. 8 minutes and 41 seconds left in this first quarter. The Raiders struck quickly with the opening kickoff, a long pass to Gold, who now has 48 catches, only 28 last year. He was one of the many great acquisitions by Al Davis for a #1 pick from the Bears. Gold to the left. Fernandez, who caught the touchdown, 17 yards to the right. It's Marcus. And the former Southern Cal star has 7 yards. Let's go back to Tim Brown's punt return. He came off limping.
The return, he wanted one of these so badly coming into this game, talking to him last night. But the traction of this artificial surface on any knee joint, any joint, is so severe, and with that previous injury, it looks as though he wrenched that knee without really being hit, but it's the traction on the joint itself, and he was mad after that play because it's so disappointing. He hasn't played that much this year, just coming into his own, only to have that happen.
Said he was going to wear basketball shoes today because he didn't want too much traction. Allen on 2nd and 3, battles to the 45, and that should be good enough for a first down.
I'm sure, Dick, on another subject, that Allen is inspired by Bo Jackson. Did you see him hit that line? He exploded into that line that time. He's as fearless a football player as I've ever seen, and the fear on the part of the Vikings is the fact that he'll cut back and Bull will stretch it. So they have to play somewhat differently according to both backs. Marcus cutting back behind the blockers, Bo stretching it and using his speed.
Marcus, who started today with 615 yards, as you saw, 10 more than Jackson. Of course, didn't join the team till midseason after the Royal year was finished. Here's Steve Smith, the fullback from Penn State, and he gets about 4 on first down. Bo this year, as you look at when, well, these are the last 3 games, joined his teammates for the first time, 3rd series, 2nd series, 3rd series, and that's probably let Marcus play this possession, and the next time around Bo Jackson will first appear.
Marcus knows he's only going to get so many shots in there, and he wants to perform up to his previous level. He knows there's a great player about to replace him. I'm sure that Al Davis and his group are glad they kept Marcus and didn't trade him, because he could very well be the difference in this year's success.
Allen trying to get around the corner and cannot. Ray Berry traversing the field, number 50, along with Merriweather, and up from safety Darrell Fullington.
Berry, the coaches believe, is another Studwell, but of course over 10 years younger. He has great quickness, great pursuit, much like DeLong of the 49ers. You see him come all the way to the outside. That's what you want from a middle linebacker, somebody who can go from sideline to sideline. It takes a compact, powerful guy to meet a blocker, then run.
Like Studwell light, he's around 225 pounds, but in that 4-3 defense, you can get away with a little linebacker. Crowd for the first time makes some noise. They've been as cold as the weather. He didn't get it off in time. That'll be delay of game. You saw the clock. Allen would have had the first down, but the flag was dropped. Schrader just a little too long, and will take the 5-yard penalty.
The Raiders have had trouble all year with their 3rd down calls. Now the percentage of 3rd down success is very good, over 47%.
Number 13, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
But these kinds of calls have troubled them, that 3rd down and 3 or 4, what to do and how to do it in this sense. In this case, they went with 3 wide receivers, then gave the ball to Marcus. An excellent call, but probably 10 seconds too late coming into the game.
You know, the Raiders, only one team, San Francisco, has a better road record this year. Niners are 7-0. Raiders are 5-2. They'll be home next week to complete the year against San Diego. So on 3rd and 8, Schrader has the man, Fernandez, and that should be good enough for a first down as they mark it at the Viking 44. Audrey McMillan made the tackle.
Excellent pass by Schrader, but he backed out of there. Now watch Schrader set up. He should stay in that pocket, but watch him start running out right into a defender. Now he got himself closer to the receiver, but that's the habit they've tried to break with him with the Raiders.
And here is Bo Jackson making his first appearance. That won't bring any smiles to that man's face, Jerry Burns. Bo, who has been named to the Pro Bowl this week, sets a piece of sports trivia. First man ever, baseball all-star, football Pro Bowl. Breaks the first tackle, but Merriweather there is the second force to trip him up. It was Chris Dolman who penetrated and got a piece of him early.
The crowd is aroused when Joe's got the ball. It's almost like it's a game in itself, the one play. Everybody, it's a contest. The crowd and everyone else to stop this guy. People go crazy for one single play where he stopped for a 3-yard loss. That's how intimidating he is coming into a ball game.
Scott Jackson, who had an 88-yard oh-my run last week, has the longest of this year. He has, in the last 4 years, 3 of those years, the longest run in the league. That's as a part-timer. Schrader to the sidelines, and Fernandez a game effort, but would have been out of bounds anyway. So 3rd down and long. And in from the sidelines comes Sam Grady. So a man who has not caught a pass all year, you better watch him. He's in there for a reason, I think.
He's got the speed, great speed. The Raiders have always wanted that kind of speed to make a big single play sometime during the year, and that's what they're hoping for from people like Grady, people like Tim Brown.
Brown out with that knee, so Grady's in the slot on 3rd and 13. Going deep for Grady. Touchdown!
There's the play, Dick.
First catch of the year is a touchdown for Sam Grady, the sprinter from the University of Tennessee, a member of the '84 Olympic gold medal 4x100 team.
That's why he's on the team. That's why they've kept him injured last year with a broken leg, and he comes out just running through people. There's that great speed showing up in the Raider team, but at the other end of that pass, vast improvement by Schrader, because he stepped up in between people inside of Dolman and made the big throw. See, this is impressive.
Jaeger, and it's 14-0. Schrader right on target with some long bombs to Gold and to Grady, and the Raiders waste no time in collecting 14 points here in the Twin Cities. 10 minutes after receiving the ball again, it's Schrader driving his team 65 yards. 3rd down and 13. The 47-yard touchdown pass to Grady. Very high. Jaeger's kick to Herschel Walker at the 3. And flags go down. Walker doesn't get to the 20-yard line. We'll get to that penalty. Let's go back to the touchdown.
This is a great pass rusher coming up the field. Dolman with Wright doing a great job of blocking him, but watch the quarterback Schrader come back up underneath everything to throw the ball. Now this is the improvement he's made over even when he played for the Redskins. See him coming up inside, still looking down the field. And that's the mark of a guy that's really coming along as a quarterback that can make the big play down the field while being menaced by somebody like Dolman.
And he threw that ball over 50 yards off the wrong foot, just flicked it out there. There's never been any doubt about the strength of this man's arm. And Grady had to
couldn't
fight his way free.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, oh, look at that. That's 15 yards, should be. Yeah. Grady couldn't celebrate long, could he? He's right back covering a kickoff.
Well, that's what made him so open. No one figured he'd get up and be in the end zone for a touchdown. Walker, after the penalty marked off for illegal use of the hands, driven out of bounds at the 21-yard line. That'll be a 1st down. Walker, despite all the negative press regarding this super player, the Heisman winner at Georgia, has set a Viking record for most yards in a season, nearly 1,800, but that includes 860 yards on kickoffs. He has just a 654 rushing to lead Minnesota.
There are a lot of good things about it. You can see the difference in their average per carry. 4.1 is respectable when you carry 160 times, but look how explosive Bo is for just 97 carries. The two of them are very comparable, have the great records coming out of college, but it almost appears listless the way Walker plays.
By comparison, DeVoe, that's complete to Anthony Carter, and that's his 79th straight game with a catch, and that breaks a record treasured by Ahmad Rashad. So Carter now has the Minnesota mark for consecutive games with a reception.
Probably has an edge on Ahmad salary-wise, too. Remember, Ahmad was one of the least expensive players in Minnesota history.
You mean the best bargain?
A good bargain, no question about that.
First down at the 35. 14-0 Raiders with 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Rick Penny, big pullback from Washington out to the 40-yard line, a gain of nearly 5 before Jerry Robinson, veteran from UCLA, makes the hit.
Robinson continues to play, a once great player with Philadelphia. This guy continues to play. People are inspired when they see their team has a chance to go all the way, especially the veterans. They know how hard it is to get there. But Robinson is not only a great man from scrimmage, he's a fine nickel linebacker. He's going to have to cover Walker this entire day out of the backfield.
Anthony Carter in motion. Wilson incomplete to Carter. That was a tough catch.
Those are the plays you have to make. You just can't have those kind of plays blow up on you, because you needed 5 yards. You get it very easily there. Now you get the third down. It's the execution of those kinds of things that bother Minnesota. That's been a problem.
Carter really wide open. Former University of Michigan All-America. Carter, they called him Little Shemmy after Bo Schembechler, who was very fond of Carter, obviously, as a great player. But Carter, one of those that kind of liked his tough style and responded well to it. I'm sure the Detroit Tiger fans have responded well to Schembechler's tough style. The throw incomplete to Hassan Jones, and that'll bring up fourth down. Torrin Dorn, the extra defensive back, on the coverage.
The guys have to catch the ball. Minnesota was in position to be in the playoffs had they beaten Tampa last week, and they failed badly. They really did. And here they are again. It's the lack of concentration. No matter how much you like the coach or how popular people are, people have to execute. You can't do it on emotion or one talk or another. It's execution. Here's Tim Brown back, by the way.
Offsides, and then they're running into the kicker. Penalty flags fly. 2 of them, one apparently for offside, and then the kicker Newsome really buried by Elvis Patterson, and he appears to be seriously injured.
Well, he was cross body blocked. That wasn't even close.
See whether the Raiders were not only offside, but they roughed the kicker. So Minnesota will maintain possession. Newsome, a Plan B acquisition from the Steelers.
We have 2 fouls on the play. Offside, number 43 of the defense. Personal foul, roughing the kicker, number 43 of the defense. 15 yards, first down.
Now the double play for Elvis Patterson, both penalties.
He'll jump offside. You'll see that immediately. And he wants to get to this is no question, he's after a block punt. But now watch him just cross body into the punter, and of course that's going to be called every time. They had an idea they could block her. He wouldn't have been so intense in getting there.
Patterson, wouldn't you have thought he was offside? Was there really a need to go barreling into the...
Well, the whistle, I would assume, should have been blown. He was 5 yards across the line of scrimmage. That's strictly up to the referee to control a situation like that. People can get hurt, and some think the play's dead and others don't.
So from the 40, they'll mark off 15, I would think. 45 of the Raiders, first down Vikings.
Dick, the point I was making just a moment ago about execution and concentration, that's what the Minnesota team needs. The Raiders haven't had a lot of that over the years, but now as they're getting closer to the playoffs, they get sharper and sharper. But Minnesota, the execution and the concentration level, that's the critical part, because the talent is there.
Minute to go in the first quarter, 14-0 Raiders. The long throw by Wilson, caught at the 5-yard line. Anthony Carter. 40-yard play, and Wilson was drilled as he threw it.
It was a zone defense. Carter went down the field, and Harden didn't get over quickly enough. Well, a beautiful catch, but look at Wade Wilson catch it here. Right over the top by Scott Davis at 290 pounds.
Well, Carter with a couple of big catches today. First and goal for the Vikings as they try to carve into that 14-0 advantage of the Raiders. 10 seconds left in the quarter. Herschel Walker just to the 5, a gain of a yard. And that'll be the last play of the period. Tom Benson spearheaded the defensive charge, and after one at the Met, it's 14-0 Raiders. Here's that pass to Anthony Carter. You remember him, don't you, Bill?
Oh, I do. Watch him get past the man who's supposed to hold him up and get down the field. Mike Harden never gets over there, so Anthony's there to make a play. Mike Harden should be rotating, watching out for Carter. He finally does, but watch Carter go right up over his head and make the stop. Dick, I get ill, physically ill when I see him make those catches.
3 years ago in the playoffs, Carter had went over 200 yards. He said it's his best game as a pro.
Let's get it over with now, Dick. He had a great game. Let's not talk about that contest again. Wow.
On second and goal, Wilson gonna run it, and he gets only a couple. Jerry Robinson along with Howie Long. And Ricky Ellison on the play as well.
I tell you, Wade's got a lot of nerve. Hasn't played for many weeks other than just shortly last week. Comes to the outside and just decides to get what he can out of it. Now that's good, smart football, although you can't take that kind of beating every down. He knew he wasn't going to get a completed pass, so get as much as you can out of the run. I think you'll see quarterbacks running more and more in football now. Cunningham setting an example, but there is yardage to be made by that quarterback as people rush the passer.
The Vikings on third and goal at the 3 will spend a timeout. First minute of the second quarter, and the Vikings needing 7 to put some pressure on that Raider lead. In terms of allowing rushing scores, and that may have entered Wade Wilson's mind on third and goal from the 3. A lot of yardage against that Raider defense.
Well, when they have that in line behind them to back them up, so to speak. That's like another group of players behind them. There's only so deep they can throw the ball, so they put those extra linebackers in and just load up front. With that bulk of Davis and Golick and Long and Townsend, that's tough to crack.
Chris Carter to the left and Anthony Carter to the right. Hassan Jones is in motion. Trouble, and it'll be a try for 3 now as Scott Davis 70 and 51. Aaron Wallace, the rookie from Texas A&M, get to Wilson.
They put all the pressure on Wilson, Dick. They made him run left. They call the play to the left. Now you try to run left and throw right-handed with that kind of heat coming on you. With Greg Townsend and Scott Davis coming right down your throat. He couldn't get his right arm back to throw the ball. He had nowhere to go. And you virtually always want to go to the right so your right hand is free to throw it as you run.
Here's Reveiz, who has made his last 8 in a row and missed only 1 here in Minnesota, 9 for 10. That 14 for 16 is not the actual count on Reveiz, but includes Donald Igwe-Buike's totals as well. So a 28-yard field goal by Reveiz, and it's 14-3.
This is the play. You'll see Wilson come out to his left, which is tough. Man in motion. The ball should have been thrown very early, and it wasn't because Wilson couldn't really get the ball off going to his left. You see, there's an opening right there to get it, but now it's too late. Wilson's stuck and, of course, gets sacked. So going to your left is so difficult to try to get the ball off quickly, and that was the only way that pass would have been completed.
There's a talented rookie from A&M with 7 sacks this year, and of course the top draft pick Anthony Smith of the Raiders injured before the start of the year, missing the entire season, so they're well stocked with young talented linebackers.
You'll see just a little hole right there to complete a pass, right there. Now it wasn't thrown. Now this may have something to do with Wade not practicing as much as he has over the weeks, but when you get Davis and Townsend coming up the field on you, you're not going to get any extra time.
Reminder tomorrow to join NBC Sports. More great football action beginning at 12:30 Eastern with NFL Live. And some of you will see a fight for first place, Miami and Buffalo. If Miami wins, they have a chance to be the host team down in Florida. Buffalo wins, it'll be come to the cold climes and meet the tough Bills. Many feel the best team in the AFC at this point.
Well, no question with Kelly in the lineup, the Bills are.
Holland and Brown are deep. Reves gets good distance, and Holland will take it out. And a former Buckeye is crushed at the 19. Didn't like the way he was tackled, apparently, but Pat Eilers came out of the pile running after Eilers. Now let's look at that schedule tomorrow on NBC. First place implications: Miami, Buffalo, Houston, Cincinnati, the same. Wonderful Warren Moon goes against the Boomer. Cleveland and Pittsburgh, the Steelers still looking ahead. New England, the Jets are looking way ahead to 1991. And Kansas City with their eyes on this game, and the Raiders undoubtedly rooting for Minnesota are the Chiefs and their fans. They visit San Diego. It all starts at 12:30 with NFL Live.
You know that Miami game with Buffalo and also Cincinnati and Houston, the weather factor in both cases is so important. If you don't have much wind, then the visiting teams are going to have a much, much better chance.
Brent Novoselsky injured, but okay. And I understand Paul McGuire, believe it or not, it's going to be a humorous look at that game between the Bills and Miami on NFL Live tomorrow. Kind of like the wig. I'm thinking about going that direction myself.
Should be full time. You know, he's, bless his heart, he's got so many ideas with humor. And it's the Abbott and Costello stuff. I remember, you know, you can see it on Saturday mornings about 4.
Where do you think he gets his material? Come on. All right, the Raiders leading 14-3. 13:46 left in this opening half. And Steve Smith out close to the 25-yard line before Chris Dolman can trip him up.
Floyd Peters talked about the Raiders' ability to double team and then what they call rub off on linebackers. In that particular case, Montoya and Wright did a beautiful job of blocking. And Peters was so concerned. The Raiders do this better than anyone else. Two offensive linemen blocking a defensive lineman, then one of them releasing to pick off the linebacker at the last second. And this is a technique that Lonnie Clark developed with Don Shula with Miami many years ago, but the Raiders do it beautifully.
Gold in motion, and a delay to Bow. And they're waiting for him. Chris Dolman holding his ground on the corner, waiting for Jackson to make the move, and then knifing low for the tackle.
Bow left his blocking on that particular play. He really did. When he got the ball, he should have been running in this hole. And you'll see him look for something big on the other side of the line of scrimmage. The blocking's going to be very, very good here by Montoya and Wright. Excellent job by the fullback, but Bow is looking for the big play, and that can happen when you get all of this attention. And you know you're really going red hot. You've still got to run behind that blocking for the first 4 yards of the play, then look for the big play.
Grady, the touchdown maker, is in the game. And Schrader, who has been brilliant on third down, comes up with another throw. That's 4 third down conversions by Schrader. 2 of them go for touchdowns. Fernandez, that was a 3rd and 10 play when he got the opening score. And it was 3rd and 13 when he hit Grady for 47. Gets the first down here to Fernandez.
The offensive line of the Raiders is pass protecting this excellent front 4 of the Vikings very, very well. They're just riding people around the passer. You see,
Schrader, did he hurt his hand on this play? Let's see. Here's the pass. Ooh, that's a late hit. Henry Thomas.
I can't understand why the referees allow those late hits. I just don't understand it. He had clearly thrown the ball.
First down. Schrader looking deep. He's got Fernandez open. Michael Grimm at the last moment reaching in. The third-year defensive back from Virginia Union making a tough play.
But is that scary to a defense, him going down the field with that long arm? And he had Fernandez. The ball was underthrown about maybe 2 yards. Fernandez still might have made a catch, but what a threat for them to start going down the field that way.
And Brim might have gotten a little early bump reaching in.
His hand must have been hit by a helmet or something.
There's Brim, the extra defensive back. Although he now is seeing more and more duty for Reggie Rutland. Rutland Many felt here in Viking country that he deserved a Pro Bowl nomination, having some kidney problems this week, so may not play today. Schrader batted down as leaping high and a flag goes down. Audrey McMillan. He was a quarterback at Houston. In fact, he was the first freshman quarterback to start in the Southwest Conference, making his money as a defensive back as a pro.
Things are really getting hot on that field. Both teams are really intense. One's frustrated and desperate, and the others just feel so proud and arrogant. And there are so many things going on between linemen that things can break out at any time. That time, Henry Thomas almost got into
hands to the face. Number 47 of the defense, first down.
Joey Browner getting the penalty, and with it a first down for the Raiders.
This was Schrader throwing the ball, hit very, very late. This is a few plays ago. And he feels something. It looks like his hand hit a helmet. But that hit was so late. I don't know, these referees are allowing so much contact on quarterbacks. It's almost like professional wrestling.
Wasn't it supposed to be a step and a half, not two?
When the throwing motion is completed and they're then hit, they should call it.
Oh, piled up right at the line of scrimmage, may have gained a yard. Al Noga from the University of Hawaii, his brother Nico celebrating today. He's a linebacker with the Lions who came away from Green Bay with a win earlier.
Noga's a complete football player. Excellent against the run and the pass. He's gotten better and better since he's joined this club. The front four is fine. What the Vikings have given up more than anything else is quarterbacks, quote, sack yardage, where the quarterback scrambles and makes big plays. Last week, Testaverde got 105 yards.
Now they missed Keith Millard, the Pro Bowl tackle, lost in the fourth game with a knee. Jackson goes wide and has blockers. And they stretch it out, and a good play is made by Browner. Does he have terrific hands? I mean, the last 6 years as he's made the Pro Bowl 6 consecutive times, he just gets his hands on a jersey and you don't go anywhere.
When we talk about tackling Bo, he said he wants the biggest part of Bo Jackson. Now here is a problem that the Vikings have had. Not a big one necessarily today, but the quarterbacks running with the ball have averaged 7.6. A year ago, Millard could very well have been the difference because he would come off a blocker so quickly and stop the quarterback. But that's been a big problem.
Well, here's Schrader at his best on third down in this first half. Incomplete. The receiver, Galt, falling down. And for the first time in the half, the Vikings stopped Schrader on third down. Carl Lee was the cover man. He's a Pro Bowler.
Really an intense pass rush coming up the field on Schrader, and that ball shouldn't have been thrown. Just when you want to say to Schrader, you're doing a great job, you're taking your team to the championship game, those kind of sort of robot throws, mechanical throws come up that can cost interceptions.
Jeff Gossett averaging 38.6, but he doesn't have many punts returned. Only 20 of 55 kicks have been returned. Veteran Leo Lewis at the other end for the Vikes. Beautiful high kick. Lewis at his 14. Well covered.
That was beautiful punt coverage. Beautiful punt coverage.
Timeout with 9:49 left in the half. Welcome back to the frigid Twin Cities. Temperatures well below zero. Chill factor between 40 and 50 below zero. But these hardy fans here to support the Vikings, though it's been a most disappointing year for them. 6-8, I suppose, like the Rams in Los Angeles. Minnesota expected to be one of those teams that might challenge seriously the 49ers' success, but it wasn't to be in 1990. And now they're just trying to reach 500 by season's end. Trailing 14-3. Wilson right through the arms of Anderson and almost intercepted by Terry McDaniel. And he's been playing well, McDaniel, of late. After not having an interception more than half a year, he has one in each of the last 3 games, and he's been as fine a cornerback as we've seen this year.
Now, Greg Townsend comes up late and hits late, but this was an excellent call, a bootleg play. The receiver was open, the ball was simply thrown too hard. And it's these little edges of things that are making the difference with Minnesota, and I suspect all year it's just been the lack of execution.
That's Herschel Walker split way out to the right. 9:34 left in this first half. And they give to Alfred Anderson. Spins out to the 23-yard line and 3rd and 6.
Herschel Walker split out, and they were hoping that they'd get coverage from Jerry Robinson all the way out there. So Herschel is outside, and they're checking out to see who's going to cover him. That time Lewis is out there with him. But if they can ever get a linebacker out there, you're going to see them throwing to Herschel, because he is an excellent receiver related to a linebacker, not so much being covered by a defensive back.
They go with the 3 wide receivers, and they split the tight end Jordan as well. Wilson over the middle to Carter, and he's to the 30-yard line and a first down. 3 catches for Anthony Carter, 63 on the year.
Carter weighed 140 pounds coming out of high school. Then he really grew, Dick, 150 coming out of Michigan. But now he's on a weight training program. He's up to 177. But just think of coming into pro football when he finally got here to Minnesota at about 152 pounds and making the plays he did, such as that disgusting win he had over the 49ers in '87.
Old Pelican legs. Single coverage, he told us yesterday.
Yes,
Boy,
yes,
did he
yes.
love that. Here's Herschel. Walker feeling his way, and I guess that run is symbolic and typifies what has frustrated fans all year as Ellison makes the tackle about Walker. It just doesn't appear he ever gets to full speed, that he's really charging hard at that defense. He's kind of dancing his way, looking for a hole.
I think it appears he's looking at the defenders rather than his blockers. He's not reading his blockers and being decisive. He's looking at all those, in this case, white shirts coming over there, deciding which one he wants to try to make miss. You've just got to read your blockers right at that line of scrimmage. Now, once you break the line, now you look at defenders.
Again, they send him way outside, and Mike Harden, the safety, picks him up. On 2nd and 8, down the middle, broken up by Benson. Intended for the tight end, Steve Jordan.
Well, Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator, and speaking of his game plan, talked about throwing the ball to Jordan because they expected Jordan to be on Jerry Robinson. Now Benson comes over, and he is in pretty good shape coming underneath that ball. I'd have to say, though, that Steve Jordan releasing straight up the field and allowing Benson to get underneath him was a mistake. If he'd have crossed shallow, he'd have been wide open. Those are the kinds of things that must just drive Jerry Bernstein's staff crazy. There's Tom Moore, who's come over from Pittsburgh to revitalize this offense, and I'm sure he's struggling along with his players.
3rd and long. They go underneath. Chris Carter, some nice running, and a first down. When he caught the ball, he did not have the yardage. His 19th catch of the year.
The plan was to allow people to come underneath zone defenders, and that's what Carter does. Now, he gets a little bit lucky there, going all the way around Jerry Robinson, but they're going for it. Normally, you just turn up the field and get what you could. Here's a guy that's been frustrated since he's joined this club. He came in, they thought he would really help, and he's only caught 17 balls all year.
Well, Hassan Jones has had the spot, and he's had turf toe, which has given Carter a chance to play today, although Jones is okay. He's in the lineup now. First down off play action. Howie Long after Wilson, who finally throws it away at the back of the legs of Alfred Anderson.
Anthony Carter was wide open. Wade Wilson didn't get the ball to him. He was wide open. The safety, Anderson, had left the middle, and Carter, I'm sure, is concerned he'll get back to him. You only get 1 or 2 chances like that, and you'll see him coming right up the middle, and the safety is going to leave the middle. He'll be wide open, but Wade Wilson will not get him the ball. Now you'll see the fake of the run pulls the safety. Look at, there's that big hole. And that's just what Galt did. That's the play he made, the first play of the game.
But Howie Long was the reason why Wilson didn't get it to him. Just at the point where he could have fired, there was Long right in Wilson's face. Vikings. Todd Kalis jumping offside.
False start. Number 69 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Well, it's settled down to a pretty good game, Dick. It really has.
There's Todd Kalis, who, along with Randall McDaniel, were in the same graduating class and guards on that Arizona State Sun Devil team. And you can see why he jumped offside. These guys, even Sun Devils in this weather, they can throw off your metabolism.
McDaniel, by the way, going to the Pro Bowl, is a beautiful pulling guard, number 64, the left guard.
Second and long, and down goes Mr. Wilson, because long is there. Howie, if you please.
Howie Long, coming up the field right here, is going to penetrate so hard and so fast that he's taking blockers and everybody else with him, all the way taking his man all the way down the field. And Tim Irwin's a good tackle. He's an excellent tackle. But Howie's explosive strength can actually take the blocker back to the quarterback.
You see those U.S. flags in the back of the helmets of the players today. NFL saluting our men and women in Saudi Arabia, letting them know that we all, during this holiday season especially, are thinking of them. Many are watching this telecast through American Forces Television. Wilson just gets out of that mess, but can't get away from Wallace. Aaron Wallace with his second sack today, and the fans don't like it.
Everybody was downfield very, very deep, so Wilson had nowhere to go with the ball. Now he handles his pass rush very, very well, coming underneath Townsend. So he has room now to throw the ball, but there isn't anybody to get it to. Everyone is 20, 30 yards down the field.
That's 45 sacks on the year for the Raiders. They're second in the league behind Kansas City. What makes that remarkable is they do it basically with a four-man rush. They don't rush a backer very often. Newsome drives an end-over-end kick at Brown at the 40. With that running start, that's trouble. And he's all the way to the Viking 36-yard line. And with it, a timeout.
Now, on the last possession, Bo Jackson had another shot at running the ball. He hasn't done anything all day, and he's not going to unless he reads his blockers better. Now, Wisniewski is outside, and right at this point, you'll see Bo should cut right back inside of Wisniewski. Instead of he dabbles to the outside, he is looking for the big play and not reading his blockers. Now, once he's outside unprotected, everybody's sitting there waiting for him, in this case, Joey Browner. So Bo has got to play off his blockers, run off his blockers, and not look for that big run every time. Thus far, he's stopped himself.
Jim Brown's 36-yard punt return to the Viking 36 gives Schrader and the Raiders a chance to add to that 14-3 lead. 5.5 minutes remained in the first half. Big toss to Bo, and then the throw away for Ethan Horton, covered by Mark Duzbabic.
That was the same play they started the game with, the fake toss, and that time everybody was back there on Galt. He had both safeties back there and nowhere to throw the ball. So they went to the special play a second time, and rarely, Dick, those kind of things work a second time.
Well, if you're joining us late on the very first play of the game, they faked that same toss to Marcus Allen, and Willie Gold was 15 yards in the open. Only Gold, stumbling as he caught the ball, saved a long touchdown. It was a 57-yard play anyway, and the Raiders went on to score a pass to Fernandez, and another in a long pass to Sam Grady of 47 yards for their 2 touchdowns. Reve's field goal of 28, the only Viking score in this half. Just got that one off in time, and Jackson carrying 3 tacklers with him, and finally Ken Clark with 280 pounds gets him to the turf.
He attacked the line of scrimmage that time. Bo decided to go with his blockers, and he attacked the line of scrimmage behind Montoya and right. Look at him explode into it. Beautiful job by Max Montoya. But when he hits that line of scrimmage, he actually beats the tackler to the punch. He hits the tackler before the tackler's ready to tackle him.
Marcus Allen in the game, and he's way out to the right. Jackson stays in the backfield. Allen, an excellent receiver. But it goes to Bo. And he may not have made it. Jerry Burns, the dean of NFL coaches in terms of age. He'll be 64 next month. He wants very much, he told us, to have one more year. He has one more year in his contract. He says, I just don't want to go out this way. I feel I have a good team. We had a lot of problems upstairs, downstairs, injuries, whatever. I hope I'll get another opportunity. And you heard on the pregame show, Will McDonough said that Mike Lynn said he will be the coach next year. And we know that man will be back with the Raiders, Art Shell.
He sure will. Jerry Burns, one way or the other, will be back. And I'm sure he has plans to solidify everything and start out fundamentally and skill-wise developing his team again. There's just so much distraction going on that people were more concerned about what was going on off the field and all the intrigue that surrounded it than play football.
There's a timeout being called by the Raiders with 3:59 left in the half. We'll see if they go for the field goal or more. After thinking it over, Art Shell goes for the field goal. 44 yards by Jaeger. Plenty long, but he misses to the left. Jaeger, who had missed only 3 all year in 17 previous attempts. So that scoring opportunity goes by the board. You see Terry Robisky, who started the year as a tight end coach. He's applauding there, and now basically is the man calling the plays for us.
Right, he's calling the plays, and he's basically the offensive coordinator.
Jaeger just talking now. Looked to be good till the last minute.
Just pulled it, yeah.
So Minnesota takes over at the 27-yard line. Both the teams having success on first down. But it's 14-3 Raiders on the scoreboard, and here's Herschel Walker protecting that ball with both hands to the 30-yard line. I sense from your body action that there's something you didn't like about that.
Well, he just minces into the line of scrimmage and protects the ball. I don't know what it is, Dick, because this guy has been a truly great football player for Dallas. A brilliant player. And at this point, he's just not reading the blocks or whatever. You see him go to the inside. Now watch him start cutting his steps, and he does no spin move at all. But he just finds he's sort of a blocking dummy. He's just being hit from every angle.
No power, no thrust at all in that
What
run.
a great athlete. And he works hard. The coaches really like his work ethic.
Oh, you want desperately for him to be good because he is such a solid citizen. Catch to Anderson, the fullback, and that's a first down at the 40. Mike Harden, the tackler.
Wilson really dealing with that pass rush. The Raiders are coming up the field. Look at Townsend. And he just holds the ball and throws a very accurate shot. Very accurate shot. Now, there's a difference between Wilson and Schrader. Schrader most likely would have drilled that ball so hard that it would have bounced off everybody. Wilson, with all that experience and touch, that's the difference.
On first down, Walker for 3 hard-earned yards, and that'll take us right down to the 2-minute timeout. Jerry Burns Vikings trying to cut into that 14-3 lead before the intermission. Welcome back to Viking country. Minnesota with the ball at their own 43-yard line with 2 minutes to go in the half, and the Raiders leading 14-3.
2 minutes, they're bound to throw the ball. No question about that. And Anthony Carter, number 81, is the logical guy. And the Raiders are going to tee off with that front four.
Carter split left with Chris Carter, no relation, in motion. Wilson down the middle, complete. And it's Chris Carter, 6'3" and 200 pounds from Ohio State. His brother Butch was the outstanding basketball star at Indiana and in the NBA, and Butch now an assistant coach at Dayton. First down at the 46, and flags fly.
They're trying to get Herschel Walker hooked up on a linebacker, and the Raiders just won't do it. They're covering him with a defensive back.
False start. Number 63, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Kirk Loudermilk, the center. Takes it back to the 49 of the Raiders, and with that, Art Shell sends in a couple of defensive changes. Aaron Wallace for the pass rush. Here comes Torn Dorn in as well as they go to their nickel defense, or dime as it would be. They may be coming after him here as he goes to the shotgun on 1st and 15. Underneath and complete to Hassan Jones at the Raider 43. Jerry Lewis, an extra defensive back with the tackle. Time running out.
That same pattern, they've completed at least 5 of them, maybe more. Starting up the field, holding, and then breaking to the inside. The Raiders are going to have still pictures of that to show their people at halftime.
Underneath again to Anthony Carter. And AC is a first down at the 27. Jerry Burns calls a timeout.
Carter coming up and then biding his time, then bursting to the inside. Now, as he does it, you'd wonder why he's so open. There's some pick plays going on by other receivers.
Jerry Burns now with 1 timeout left. 1:07 remaining first half. Trailing 14-3. Ball at the Raider 27. First down is Anthony Carter now with 4 catches, 78 yards to lead the Vikes. Full pressure on. It goes to Chris Carter. At the 10, Carter, touchdown. And the Vikings are right back in the game.
The first blitz of the game by the Raiders. One blitz. Carter reads it, Wilson reads it, touchdown. Bet they wish they had that defensive call back. They brought people, and there weren't any other people to help out once Carter caught the ball.
His 3rd touchdown reception, his other 2 this year, came against his former teammates in that Philadelphia game. So AC Carter with 4 catches and Chris Carter with 4. There are a couple of pills, those Carters.
Well, Chris is sure pleased because he's been riding the bench all year, and he's a proven receiver, and this is finally he gets his chance right at the end of the season.
Gervais adds the extra point, and it's a 14-10 game.
You're going to see a very simple pattern come up to the inside, but you'll see the blitz coming in here, and to no avail. You see Jerry Robinson blitzing, and Wilson just gets rid of the ball when he sees him blitzing. The spot where Jerry would have been is the big hole for Robinson.
And you know, Hassan Jones did a good job of running his man off. He didn't see Chris Carter coming from behind.
Well, look at the poise of Wilson. What a veteran quarterback. He knows it's there, and that's Benson blitzing. Benson coming up to the inside, and that leaves a big void coming to the inside. Now watch him start and then go again.
And then right in here, Hassan Jones on the far sidelines has run his man off. There you go, and Torn Dorn unable to get to Chris Carter for the score.
Well done. There are so many good ingredients about this Minnesota team that everyone wonders why they can't be more consistent.
Well, there's no doubt that the injury to Wilson, you lose your quarterback, even though Gannon is a young talent. That hurts. And Millard, there are not many tackles in the league that have more talent than he, and you lose them early. And then, how about all the front office shuffling? Mike Glenn is here, and yet he isn't here. He's with the WLAF, and the fact that basically what you hear, he's not the most popular man, Lynn here, with the Vikings players. The fact they tried to have the unity that camp down in Texas before the season began. There have been a lot of things that have distracted this team away from the field. Wilson himself indicated that to us. The low skidding kick goes to Jamie Holland. And he's to the 23-yard line. 53 seconds left in the half. And tonight we remind you on NBC to lift your spirits. It's a special 1 hour Amen, followed by episodes of The Golden Girls and Empty Nest, and then one of our favorites, Carol Burnett of Carol and Company. Robert Urich stars in American Dreamer. A fine lineup tonight on this Saturday evening only on NBC. There's Keith Millard on the sidelines. He'll be ready to go next year.
They say he's made great recovery. Great recovery. And he's really working at it.
Well, if you're the Raiders, 53 seconds, a 14-10 lead. You play it safe here. Less than a minute to go, apparently. Marcus Allen wrapped up. Ray Berry on the top side.
Well, they're not going to go for it. They're going to let that time run down. You'd think they would try one downfield play, just one downfield play, and then now they're talking about it on the sideline. Now they're going to go down the field with something. Just one downfield play, Dick, then take the rest of the time off the clock. If you get the big play, fine. If you don't, fine.
Well, you see Schrader now with a bandaged thumb, and he did jam that left thumb apparently on the play we showed you in the first quarter on the late hit. Marcus. And Allen gets to the 30-yard line, and apparently that'll be the last play of this first half. So it appeared the Raiders at the start striking quickly, 2 touchdowns, first 2 possessions, 14-0 in the first quarter, but the Vikings and Wade Wilson rally, and at the intermission, Minnesota fans have hope in a 14-10 game.
Right, well now we, as you can see from the screen, we're now back at Minnesota for the start of the second half. So let's go back to Bill Walsh and Dick Enberg.
And Walker lets it go, and Alan Rice picks it up, and he's tackled at the 10-yard line. Walker seemed to have it all the way, and then Rice backed off, took it away from him, and Minnesota starts deep in its own end. Not a smooth beginning to the second half for Minnesota.
Well, like beating a dead horse, or whatever that term is, we just keep saying these are the kinds of things that take the Vikings out of a game. When they do so many other things well, is the detail and those refined things like catching a kickoff or things of that nature that you'd assume people can do that they don't do well.
Earlier today, the Detroit Lions won at Green Bay in the frozen climbs of Wisconsin, 24-17. You see Wilson's numbers beginning at his 10. And the give to Walker, breaking some tackles and gains nearly 8. Going into the second half, Walker had carried 6 times and Bo Jackson 6 times, neither very effective. Walker 21 yards, Jackson 12.
I think Jackson, speaking of Jackson, now this is a nice job by Walker, getting his head down and getting clear of blockers. But Jackson came into this game, I think he couldn't help but feel so good about his big runs lately. He was going to make some of those, and he left his blocking.
That's the best rush by either man, 7 yards. Contact. Scott Davis in the center of the Raider defense got back onside but made contact.
That Raider defensive line, we've done a number of games this year, and each game we see that critical offside, that big jump, and at this point it did hurt them when they lost to Kansas City, but they can't afford those kinds of things now as you tighten up and get ready for the playoffs.
But this man Davis with 8 sacks this year, his 3rd year out of Illinois, they knew that he had great talent, 6'7", 280, but they were a little disappointed in Davis the first 2 years, and he has blossomed here in 1990. They feel they got themselves a solid player for another 10.
He can be a great one from the standpoint of taking blockers with him wherever he wants to go. He's so strong, so physical.
The penalty, 5 yards, the first down. Wilson works with and goes right into coverage. Almost intercepted by Mike Harden. As well covered was Herschel Walker. Harden had that one read perfectly.
Walker has deceptive speed, and he can go down a field and outrun some of the better people. The ball is just simply underthrown and thrown late. They assumed, as we said earlier, that they could get Jerry Robinson, a linebacker, out there on Walker as a wide receiver, but the Raiders wouldn't fall for it. And that time Harden came out of the middle of the strong safety and went with number 34.
Walker splits to the right this time. Bottom of the picture. Wide receivers Carter and Carter to the left. Draw play. Anderson shoots out to the 28-yard line. A gain of about 5. The Raiders, a team that on defense was acquired. Al Davis and his maneuverings. They started somewhere else. Golick with Cleveland. Robinson, a first-round pick of the Eagles. Ellison with San Francisco. The Falcons had Benson. Washington from the Cardinals. Harden, Denver. And Eddie Anderson from Seattle.
You know, in each case, there's a scenario there that the original team was discarding them for one reason or another. Often age, sometimes salary, sometimes not feeling that they had the intensity they used to have. And they come to the Raiders, and you can see the difference.
3rd and 5, and Wilson gets away from Howie Long and will run it. Aaron Wallace chasing him at the 35. It'll be a first down. So close to a sack. Howie Long could taste it.
This is an excellent job by Wade Wilson. A lot of poise getting underneath that guy taking off on you. And you see Wallace full speed chasing Wilson. He knows he can't get away. He still should have gone out of bounds, I'd assume, but Wilson is playing very well with a lot of command and control. Look at Howie Long right down his throat, and he still makes the play.
Kalis did a good job of getting into Long to help Wilson out. Wade Wilson, who played at East Texas State, and there's Howie Long ready to tee off again. There's not many quicker off the ball than Long. Here he comes again, and he gets his hand on the ball. That could be ruled a fumble. If it is, the Raiders have it, and that's the call at the 29-yard line. Howie Long looked as if he got his hand in there just enough to bat it right out of Wilson's hands. And Greg Townsend recovers.
I wonder if they'll have a replay to see whether he was actually throwing the ball. Well, we can get a look ourselves.
Watch Long 75 barreling in.
See, he starts. It looks like he started a throwing motion. Be interesting to see if they replay that.
Apparently not.
Apparently not. So he started a throwing motion.
But that is not reviewable. That's a judgment call by the officials. And Marcus Allen. Just when it appeared he might break into the clear, Al Noga wraps him up.
Well, Dick, that would have been a change of possession, so they could have reviewed that play. And I'm surprised they didn't. But when things go for you, they go for you. And it was just a matter of time whether when Howie Long and Davis coming up inside could take the guards, McDaniel and Kalis, back into the quarterback. And that's what they're starting to do.
Leading 14-10. Trying to take advantage of the turnover. Allen. And he fights to the 22-yard line, which will leave the Raiders with 3rd and 3. Al Noga, another tackle. Al Davis, they rule now that that was an interception. It was not called a fumble. It was called a pass, as you saw it, Bill Walsh. Watch again where the ball lands. It's not, he has his arm going forward, you're right, but it flips and does not. It hits the back of a Viking blocker, and Townsend intercepts. So that is ruled a pass interception by Townsend.
No wonder Townsend was celebrating coming off the field, because you know he wasn't in on the play until we saw that interception.
Third down give to Steve Smith, the fullback, and he charges inside the 20 for what appears to be a first down. Ken Clark and Joey Browner on the tackle.
The Vikings are playing it tough, no question about that. They just tend to botch these kinds of games, and it'll take a full training camp and a lot of hard work for Jerry Burns and Floyd Peters here, who is one of the really brilliant defensive coaches in the league, to get this thing to where they're steady and consistent and devoid of the kind of mistakes they made.
Smith getting them the necessary 2+ for the first down. Wide open is Marcus Allen for a touchdown. No, he did not have possession as the call, and the other official comes in and says touchdown. Well, let's take a look. Allen open as he sprints down the sidelines. And we'll see in real time now, not slow motion, real time does he have possession.
He ran to the flat and then circled up the sideline for the ball.
Real time, you can see why the official waved it off.
Well, upstairs they'll get a look at it. They're going to make a decision, I'm sure, from up here.
The ruling on the field is touchdown.
Now let's look at it slow motion. The man who called it a touchdown, the official had the better shot at it.
Well, he actually had caught the ball. Now, whether he takes 2 full steps, he has the ball there.
Does he ever have control? Boy, it's tough to see. From that angle, there's never a time when you really see Allen has control. And it'll be tough to see from this angle, obviously. But there's nothing there to support an overrule either, that the mass of Browner and Allen together.
That's as close a call as we've had this year from upstairs.
So let the officials call it. You see, he juggles it early, but then may have regained it. Play is being reviewed now. There's the best angle. Does
Now
he pull
he has
it back in? What's your call?
I'd call it a touchdown.
This is a time of all the times where you're glad you're in the dome. How would you like to be out at the old...
yeah, just wait a minute. Look, one more angle on that.
Be out at the stadium when it's a minus 44 chill factor and they're up there drinking hot coffee in the instant replay booth and looking at it one more time. If it's ruled a touchdown, it'll be Allen's first of the year. Marcus Allen and Jay Schrader, who's had 3 terrific games now. He had 6 touchdown throws the last 2 games after going without one 4 straight games in November, and he has 3 more today. Jeff Jager makes it 21-10 Los Angeles. And Jay Schrader with touchdowns to Fernandez, Grady, and now Marcus Allen. Schrader hooking up with Marcus Allen as Allen has his surprisingly first touchdown reception of the year, his 12th total, and that'll be Herschel Walker on the receiving end of Jager's kickoff. 21-10 Raiders with 9:42 left in the 3rd period. Good fight again by Jager. And Walker running into his own blocker, gets to the 22-yard line. Napoleon McCallum.
This is an interesting touchdown, Dick. Browner is going to cover Marcus Allen out of the backfield because of a blitz. You know, you see Allen go to the flat and Browner jump it, and then when Allen turns up the field, Browner loses his man. So they just call the right pass for the right situation, with Browner coming forward and then letting Allen fool him going into the flat and up the field.
Joy says, you didn't show me that move when we were teammates at Southern California 9-10 years ago. Jay Schrader talking with quarterback coach Mike White upstairs.
Mike saying, nice pass.
Great call. They convert on the interception. Wilson, nobody there. And Howie Long again. Boy, Long is just all over Wilson today. It was Long who got to Wade and forced the interception on the bobbled pass. And Long has had pressure on constantly. He is at his age, 30, playing as well as he ever has. Started slowly this year with injuries, but should have made the Pro Bowl, I would think.
When you get down to the individual games at the end of the year like this, those veteran players really come to life. They know they don't have that many to play, and all that skill and that wisdom starts to really show up.
You'll see him because he's the first one off the ball. Toss to Walker. Makes the catch. Has the speed and drives to the 46. That's the Herschel Walker they want to love. Yards on the play.
Beautifully blocked play to the outside. Everyone was blocked for Herschel, and then he just used his speed to split people before Alfred Anderson really takes a shot at him. But everything was so beautifully blocked all the way across that front. Watch him just split right between people. Beautiful job. Beautiful block play. And it looked hopeless when I first looked at it. I thought, here's another 0 yardage play. But that one, worked.
Longest running play of the game, 24 yards, and now off play action. Wilson has that ball deflected at the line of scrimmage. Appeared to be Scott Davis.
The time it's taking Wilson to fake the run and then throw is allowing Davis and Howie Long to push up the field into him. And he had the interception earlier and now a batted pass. So just that little bit of extra time, and those big studs up front are really coming after him. Watch right up the field. Davis now in position on a stunt to jump up and bat the ball.
Second down at the 47. Barry Burns, an assistant, longtime offensive coordinator under Bud Grant in the glory years of the Vikings. And Walker with flags going down. Stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Tried to go with it again.
Golik and Benson. It's a veteran Raider defense. And stopping Walker, they'll have about a 3rd and 10 or take the penalty 2nd and 20.
Bob Golik, Tom Benson. Here are two guys.
Illegal block. Number 65 of the offense. Repeat second down.
Here, Golik and Benson, two guys that basically were discarded by their parent teams. Big salaries toward the end of their career, and teams looking to rebuild, they allow these guys to go into that plan B, and have the Raiders taken advantage of that. And it's taken a little time. Golik helped immediately, but now they have just the right thing for Benson. He plays weak side linebacker, and that speed and pursuit that he has really makes a difference.
What Jerry Burns told us, he doesn't like the plan B for a couple of reasons.
Oh, no question about it. He just thinks it disrupts your team. Some of your poorer players end up making more money. And if you're the 35th, 6th guy on the team, you stay at lesser salaries.
There's Long chasing Wilson again. Now Davis picks up the hunt. He gets the sack. And Wilson is hurt on the play. Oh, not the same injury. It was the way he was holding his hand at first. I thought that might have been that thumb.
Looks like a shoulder. He was
Gannon tunes
really thrown to the ground. And on this surface, no question about this surface, the injury factor is tripled on those kinds of plays.
This is a very hard carpet.
The
very
ground
hard.
just doesn't give at all. It's so severe. And see Davis now, he'll really throw all that weight right on that right shoulder. All his weight right on that right shoulder, and that right shoulder is right on that artificial surface. Gee.
Timeout with 7:20 to go in the third, and the Raiders in command.
Takes a tough guy to play that quarterback position. Wow.
Rich Gannon inherits a 3rd and a mile situation, goes underneath. Alan Rice picks up some of the yardage to the 39, where it'll be about 4th and 13.
There's Wade going back, most likely with a separated shoulder. Howie Long starts it by pushing up. Now Wilson's problem is he couldn't come up inside because Davis was there. But watch the crunch of 285 pounds falling right on that shoulder underneath the artificial surface. And that's a good part of it.
And since this is a multi-purpose stadium, the Twins playing here as well, it's a much harder carpet than, say, in the Silverdome, where you have a nice cushiony pad for football.
It's a dramatic difference in that part of it. But the heat was there. We've been talking about it all day. The entire front four of the Raiders on that last play were a party to that big sack.
Line drive. Brown should be able to return this one from the 18. Trips up at the 36-yard line by Adam Schreiber. Well, tomorrow it'll be a chance to see some of the top players in the NFL as voted by their peers. Those are the Pro Bowlers. Buffalo with 8, leading all NFL teams. Kelly, Thomas, Reed, Hall, Bruce Smith, Cornelius, Tasker, Shane, and Miami with Earl Edmonds. The rookie Richmond Webb at tackle. Jeff Cross, their pass rusher, and Offerdahl makes it again at linebacker. It'll be Miami and Buffalo. A big battle for first place in the AFC East. That starts 12:30 Eastern Time with NFL Live. And Bo Jackson, despite his dual role with the Royals actually had more Pro Bowlers than Seattle and Dallas. They got one, and Cowboys and Seahawks shut out. one may have fumbled. At least the Vikings reacting that way. And Bo says, "What's this? I got the pumpkin."
Well, Bo is going right in behind his blockers at this point and just hammering.
Jackson, we talked to him yesterday, said, "How'd you like hitting here in the Metrodome?" That's a Homer's paradise. There's the left field corner, 343, and he hit one almost up to the roof this past season. He only has 4 home runs in his career here in Minnesota.
Take a look at the ball if we can ever find it in there. He ended up with it. There's the ball out, but he finds it again.
And gained 5 yards on the play. Jackson again. Boy, he runs left so well. Why is that? He seems to get his big. Oh my, does he ever hit one of the Viking coaches? Full bore.
It's like
right in the chest. Didn't see him coming. It looked to be Paul Wiggin. Former Kansas City head coach.
And Paul at one time would have made that stop, but not now.
You were hit once. You didn't see one coming.
Yeah, I did. I cracked 2 ribs.
There's Jackson getting free on the corner away from Merriweather. And way down the line is Wiggin. He was trying to get out of the way.
He was trying to figure Jackson out.
Check John Brenner now, where he's the running backs coach. It wasn't Wiggin. Jackson drawing a crowd led by Chris Goldman on first down.
It's Brenner, yes. He had nowhere to go because Bo was coming in there so hard, trying to find a way to go into nowhere.
Oh, thank goodness. Tough enough to be an assistant coach.
What a shock to the system from out of nowhere.
Second down and 8 for the Raiders, who lead 21-10. 4 minutes plus left in the third. Jackson goes the other way. And loses a yard at the 45. The Raiders coaches, they're on their way to the Loge level.
They know Bo. Floyd Peters talking at length to us about Bo Jackson and his great talent. Said their defenders had to stay outside the blockers, not to let Bo get that sideline, because once he gets it, that speed becomes a factor. So that time it was very evident. They had everybody playing outside the blocker, keeping their helmet outside so they can go to the outside to make the stop.
Now Jackson led all running backs with a 6.2 average coming in, only 3 yards a shot today. But Schrader's passing game has been the key for Los Angeles, and he goes to work again on third down. To Ethan Horton, the tight end, that'll be just short of a first down at the 38.
I have to give Steve Wright and Rory Graves, the 2 tackles of the Raiders, a lot of credit because they're handling Noga and Dolman so well. They are really doing a fine job. Now you see the protection, the 2 outside rushers. Look at the nice job that's being done, and it allows them to move to the outside or throw or stay in their pocket. So, and both of these guys I felt were the weaker factor in that offensive line, both Wright and Graves. But they're handling 2 excellent pass rushers very well.
Jeff Gossett punting for only the second time today on 4th down and a long yard. Leo Lewis at the 10. Raiders not gambling with that lead, 21-10. Walk to the sideline, looks good. And is a good kick. Let's see where they'll mark it. A little scuffle out at midfield. They'll mark it inside the 10. No, at the 10-yard line. Timeout. 2:51 remaining in the third period. The Vikings need to get to work. They trail by 11. Come back to the Metrodome. The Raiders return home to the Coliseum next Sunday for their finale against San Diego. And Al Davis told us yesterday that they will play the 1991 season in the Coliseum, and then in '92 will play in Dodger Stadium as they refurbish the Coliseum. That'll give them about 20 months to get that work done, and the home of the Olympic Games, 32 and again in 84. He says the seating capacity will be 65,000 fans. He says, I want it to be a sellout. I want the fans in Los Angeles to see the home game, which they really do.
He's counting on those luxury suites in particular.
He says those will bring us so much more than having those carousel end zone seats you sell for $13. Alfred Anderson on first down at the 10 gets a couple. Talking about the assistant coaches and all, they have to protect yourself, as we saw earlier. And here's, well, you got to even keep the head coach. Terry Robisky says, listen, your stash here,
says
coach.
It might be on the camera. You never know. Terry has done a great job, and there's a lot of affection between those two guys. Art Shell has given Robisky a lot of new responsibility, and he's certainly working out.
The head man looks like he's got all the material for a new head coach himself someday. Gannon intercepted. No, Harden drops his second today. The former Denver Bronco and Michigan Star, that's two he's had right in his hands.
Two key interceptions, but it just completely, people could have gone home, no question about it. Again, the play fake to Walker inside to buy just a little bit of time.
And it's deflected by Benson right to Harden.
The Raiders rarely play the zone defense, and that was where Benson was, in a zone. He's there to make that play.
Third down, a short nine, and Gannon in the shotgun, former Delaware star. Oh, that one was almost intercepted, and Terry McDaniel read it all away. That had 6 points written all over it.
Well, the Raiders are there, and they're doing a beautiful job of reading the quarterback and moving on the ball. They haven't been noted for those skills. A big stunt right in the middle that's picked up well, but you see the defenders are just reading Gannon, and apparently that's been Gannon's problem. This is the first time I've seen him play this year, but he is telegraphing his throws.
At McDaniel, in only his second year from Tennessee, was the #1 pick of the Raiders. Boy, the more you see him, he just is a sensational corner. Great anticipation. Does he close? Here's Newsom. Hits this one pretty well, and Tim Brown drifts toward the sidelines at his 41. And is out of bounds at the Vikings 47. Timeout. A minute and a half left. Third period, 21-10, Los Angeles. Back at the Met. And there's John Brunner, who took that blow from Bo Jackson. He's in pain, but at least barely able to stand up. The word on quarterback Wade Wilson is not so good. Dislocated right shoulder. And obviously, Wilson's season will end as it began, an injury. Meanwhile, it's Jay Schrader taking over at the 47 of the Vikings. 21-10, late in the third. Los Angeles, 3 touchdown throws for Schrader. And flags go down.
They let Bo bounce outside that time. He can just hold you on your blocker because he's coming right at you, and at the last minute he spins to the outside or bursts to the outside. Joey Browner was there, but does he have speed? Now watch him start inside and then suddenly just sprint outside, and Browner had every angle and still really couldn't make the play on it. So they're worried about Bo bouncing, and Marcus, when he's playing cutting back, is a great combination.
Holding the call against Los Angeles, however, and Jackson held in check after 3 consecutive 100-yard games, and in each of those games with a big play. Runs of 50 yards or more. 62 against Denver for a score. Remember that one when he ran over the defense? 55 against the Lions, and then 88 yards last week against the Bengals. Schrader over the middle. Mervin Fernandez at the 48 of Minnesota.
You know, you see Mervin Fernandez. Dick, you spoke of Al Davis acquiring defensive players. Offensively, maybe guys with even more impact. Here's Willie Gault. The Bears didn't think he could go inside for the ball. Mervin Fernandez They waited out in Canada till he could come to them. Schrader, we know about. Horton was a running back, a first-round pick by the Chiefs. He's now a fine tight end. Jackson, people had given up on. He was going to play baseball. Here he is. Graves and Wright, 2 fine tackles. Montoya. The Bengals wouldn't pay him the amount of money his contract read, so plan B. Here he is.
And here's Jackson. He puts that head on a flag, goes down again at the 40-yard line. And maybe on a face mask. Jackson at least grabbing at the mask. But the Vikings fans say it's going against Los Angeles.
So the Raiders, with Art Shell on the field and Al Davis and his staff putting together the kind of personnel it takes to win, have really been revitalized.
Illegal
I think
hands,
that's evident.
pace, number 76, second down.
That was Wisniewski, the second-year guard from Penn State, who goes to the Pro Bowl. Art Shell has had a great influence on that line, and it's reflected in their success as voted for the Pro Bowl. Wisniewski goes to the Pro Bowl, Mosbar goes to the Pro Bowl, and Montoya is the first alternate to the Pro Bowl, and then Graves and Wright, two men you mentioned on that list, both free agents, signed originally as free agents and then acquired on waivers by the Raiders, are doing a solid job at tackle. And that's in part the influence of Shell, who played in there as well as anyone. The Hall of Famer. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. Quarter hoping they can get a couple of possessions, down 21-10. It's the Raiders' ball. Second down and 20 at Los Angeles 42 as we open the fourth. Bo Jackson way out to the left. Schrader goes deep for Galt. He's got it, and then it's knocked away, incomplete. He had it for a moment as he again had sprinting. He just that speed that's so dazzling, and it just dares the defense to try to stay with him. He was open, and then Carl Lee, that's a Pro Bowl play, and that's why he's made it again for the third consecutive year, breaks it up.
Well, Galt's had an excellent history against Lee. You can see he's outrun him on that play. Al Davis took the films of Galt playing against Lee in 86 and 87 and looked at those carefully, and they decided they could go deep on Lee. That was another shot at doing it. But he's had an excellent career against Lee. 3 for 70 one year and 1 for 50 the next year, so averaging about 30 yards a catch against Lee. Galt against Lee when he was with the Bears.
Schrader eludes the pressure, and now he's got a lot of running room, but will duck out of bounds far shy of the first down near midfield. It was Al Noga who put the pressure on him.
So you see the Raiders are, Al Davis exhausts nothing. He's even seen Jay Schrader when he played with the Redskins here. When the year that Williams took over following this game to win the Super Bowl, they had Schrader playing. Now here's a good look at Dolman coming up inside it and putting the pressure on of Schrader, but they wanted to see why Schrader had his problems playing here, if that had any factor in it. It didn't, but they exhaust anything, looking all the way back to 86 and 7 to see how people played against each other and where problems developed.
Leo Lewis waits for Gossett's punt. Good pressure. And Lewis tackled at the 18-yard line by Dan Turk. Tomorrow night, an NBC News special, First Person, with Maria Shriver, featuring the story of that USC sophomore quarterback Todd Marinovich and his father Marv, who has made his son his life's project. Todd Marinovich, the one they call Robo QB, designed by Dad to win. Plus two-time Oscar winners Sally Field and sex, lies, and videotape star Andy McDowell, all on First Person. Maria Shriver tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern on NBC. Wade Wilson.
Separated shoulder, Dick. And that usually is a 6-week injury, so obviously he's going to be ready for training camp.
Gannon overshoots his mark. It was intended for Anthony Carter, not close.
You see the difference between Wilson and Gannon. It's that exposure, that experience, that wisdom and touch, knowing when to throw the ball. And Wade was coming back with a nice game, but Gannon just hasn't developed that sophistication yet. If he does, but he's certainly a fine athlete.
Well, you hear quarterbacks and players who in high school starred in other sports. They say 3 years in tennis or track and field, whatever. But Gannon may be one of a kind. He actually lettered 2 years in crew in Philadelphia. He's got a man, Jordan, open, and the tight end has a first down at the Raider 48.
That was an excellent pass. Beautiful shot down the field by Gannon. He knew just where he wanted to go with the ball. Jerry Robinson is, no, it's not Jerry Robinson, trying to make that stop down the field.
Alex Gordon, acquired from the Jets.
Just come in to do it, and they just picked it out beautifully. Steve Jordan has had an excellent year as a pass receiver. 40 catches for a tight end is very, very good, averaging almost 14 yards a catch. That also is very good.
And he's on his way to his 5th straight Pro Bowl. Gannon, a good runner. But Terry McDaniel, with his speed, came up to get him to the sidelines in a hurry. And fans on the far side giving Gannon a cheer for his high hurdle work going over the benches and Gatorade buckets.
We really liked Gannon when I was with the 49ers as a potential player, but it might take 4 or 5 years for him to develop. Now, these are good instincts coming up the field. He might have been inside right there to get yardage. But now watch this athletic. He had no choice. That's the long jump.
Edwin Moses moved there. That is considered a sack, and the 5th for the Raiders, who started with 42 today, gives them 47. Kansas City in the lead with 57. Here's Alfred Anderson for nearly 9 yards. Boy, the rash of injuries on quarterbacks these last 2 weeks here in December. Here's Wilson as Scott Davis just crunches him under all of that momentum, and the dislocated right shoulder ensues.
Well, there's no question the guys tackling him are incensed for that they want that sack, and they want this kind of thing to happen, unfortunately. My quarrel with this part of the game, that couldn't have been helped by an official. No. But far too often the officials are letting quarterbacks take punishment that's absolutely unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary.
Timeout. Plenty of time in the 4th. 110. They've been outgained now by Minnesota. And it's the Vikings ball at the 40 of Los Angeles. 3rd and a short 2.
All year the Raiders have just been fair to average on statistics. Turnovers, yardage, all those kinds of things. What they've depended on heavily is the big play, defensively and offensively.
Gannon will work from the shotgun. Right up to the line of scrimmage, and that's Carter in motion. The give is the fullback, and Rice has the first down at the 35. Good call by Jerry Burns.
Excellent trap play, and Callis pulled and did a beautiful job of trapping Scott Davis. You'll see him pulling out of the line, and there's the trap. Actually, the trap was on Wallace, who was coming up the field, but excellent call with those Raiders going after the passer.
Herschel Walker wide to the left, and there's Mike Harden coming right over the covering. Gannon goes deep for Walker. He had a step on Harden, but overshot him.
Harden knew he was in a foot race. He knew what Herschel was doing out there, and Herschel still pulled away from him. Herschel as a wide receiver for you, sprinting and then just bending inside, and at this point that speed shows up. Still not quite enough.
So 2nd and 10. As Walker was a very, very expensive price for Vikings to acquire Walker from Dallas last year, and they still have much to pay. Their 1st and 2nd drafts next year, their 1st, 2nd, and 3rd drafts the following year still go to Dallas. Underneath, Carter, a juggling catch, short of the first down by about a yard. Mike Harden and Tom Benson made the tackle.
What Minnesota's trying to do is keep their basic offensive unit in there, including Walker, and keeping the basic defensive unit of the Raiders in. And this is a ball caught underneath the zone defense, And sort of a physical catch because you don't know where they're coming from. There you see Benson and Ellison right up over the top.
Short of the first down by less than a yard. Walker, the lone running back. 21-10 Raiders. Walker, boy, they were keying on him. It was Long shooting in there. Howie Long on every play is in the Viking backfield.
Well, they're called for offsides often. We know that. But that quickness off the ball, they beat the offensive blockers across the line of scrimmage.
A field goal trailing 21-10 is not the answer apparently for the Vikings, so they'll go for it on 4th down and a yard. With only Walker in the backfield on that play,
we knew it.
They knew the Raiders, and Long teed off. Walker on a sweep. And he doesn't make it. Mike Harden, Ricky Ellison and company put the stopper on the Vikings, and that may be their best hope there.
Last hurrah. You wonder about the toss play. Of course, they know what they're doing. But look at all the Raiders right into the middle of this and taking on the blockers. Jerry Robinson took on the blocker so that there was a pile of people there. A beautiful job. Mike Harden across the line of scrimmage. That kind of play, Dick, is as good as anything for the entire Raider team when the entire defense makes that big 4th down or 3rd down stop.
Well, the Vikings had it at the 26, 3rd and 1. No gain on 3rd down, and they lose a yard on 4th down. Schrader, DeMarcus, and the tackle by Ken Clark, the veteran from Syracuse.
This is when you'd expect Steve Smith and Marcus Allen to be carrying the ball, consuming time off that clock, hopefully making first downs.
The Raiders' magic number, just to refresh your memory, is 2. Any combination of Raider wins or Kansas City losses that reach 2 will give Los Angeles that AFC Western title and the bye week. Whoever wins the AFC East will get the other bye. Long for a goal, all alone, no one there, and Willie Gault stumbles and falls again and is down at the 10-yard line. That's what happened on the opening play of the game, a short touchdown, and Gault, after catching it, losing his balance, but another big bomb in Burns' face.
That surprised me, I know that. I thought they would take the ball and just simply run with it, and Gault ran a corner pattern, and now watch Gault on this corner pattern. He'll go up inside and then use his speed out to the corner. And meanwhile, there's a play pass, and Schrader will get good pass protection because of it. You see both people blocking. Look at the pass protection, but Schrader can throw that shot. And when you get that chance, Gault really rises to the occasion.
2 catches for 117 yards, and it's Jackson torn down after a short gain as Mike Merriweather and Ken Stills made the stop.
Again, going back to 87, 86 when Gault played here as a Bear, this is the kind of play that he made in that game. He had a 50-yard touchdown, 70 yards and 3 other catches, and beautifully just getting down the field behind people.
Schrader thought he had his 4th touchdown pass. He says, we got to get that guy to stand up. 2nd and goal.
You know, Dick, probably 90% of the receivers in the league wouldn't have caught up to that ball.
Oh, they want to give Jackson a touchdown. He's to the 4-yard line and beyond. Carl Lee coming up from the secondary to help out on the tackle.
Well, the Raiders are going for it. I didn't think they would run a play like that at all in that situation, and they've got the confidence now in Schrader to go ahead with it. You go back 8 or 10 weeks into the season, and they would no more have done that with Schrader. They wouldn't have thought of that. They were worried about whether he could execute those kind of plays.
Now the Raiders, who are shy in tight ends, bring Steve Wright out as a tight end in this situation. As the announcement made, he's an eligible receiver. Apparently it is not goal to goal. 3rd and 3 for a first down. Schrader, end zone, touchdown, another easy score. Ethan Horton, the tight end this time, his 3rd of the season.
Impressive. They're going for it. Not that conservative team we've been watching in the early part of the year.
3 yards on the touchdown throw as Schrader gets 4 touchdown throws.
You see the fake inside, and then the tight end just releasing to the corner. Everybody playing the run, but the tight end, he just opened for a touchdown.
Jager will try the point after, and for Schrader, who went 20 straight quarters in November, 4 games without a touchdown pass. Now in December, 3 games, and he has 10 touchdowns in December. And the Raiders apparently will reduce that magic number to 1. They now lead 28-10 with 7:44 remaining in Minnesota. 7:44 remaining, and the Raiders now with a comfortable 28-10 lead. Skid one into the wedge, and it's taken by an up lineman, Adam Schreiber, who gets to the 34-yard line. Looking ahead to tomorrow, and I know fans around the country, so many teams, at least on the AFC side, looking for that playoff spot. NFL Live starts it at 12:30, and don't forget, in that NFL Live show, we're going to see what a modeling by Paul McGuire of over a ton of cold weather gear that the players will be using in that game. Paul McGuire only on NBC.
I knew it wouldn't be a swimsuit. I knew that.
Well, I'm going to see it. I'm going to be doing my last minute shopping and catch that NFL Live show. Gannon through his hands, the receiver, Steve Jordan, the tight end.
Ball probably thrown too hard, really. You have to really account for that kind of a throw. And Gannon still has to develop the touch.
He didn't tell us yet. As you see Greg Townsend getting a little neck massage there. What is it you really want for Christmas? I have connections.
Well, I'm trying to think of what I need. I guess voice lessons.
Whether Long was pulled offside or was that Irwin. What about Buffalo-Miami tomorrow? Now, if the weather isn't freezing cold, that'll be one break for Miami. How do you see that? And then you got Frank Reich going for Buffalo.
Well, Reich can play one game very, very well. He can run with the ball well, which really helps in a given game. Miami is yet to prove they can go somewhere and beat somebody really good. And Buffalo's got every incentive, having lost the first game. And I think Bruce Smith is just too much for anybody to handle right now.
Heavily against Minnesota. And Anthony Carter with that Terry McDaniel wearing him like a glove. Incomplete.
Same play that Wilson was completing early in the game. Gannon just can't complete. And that's just the poise it takes. Now,
you do this one, Bill.
Oh, boy. Kansas City, if DeBerg can play well, I think Kansas City is a stronger team than Chicago right now. If DeBerg plays, and apparently he will. So I see Kansas City going in there and winning a close ball game. But with Word running the ball and DeBerg throwing the ball, I don't think Chicago has the kind of offense at this stage in the season to stay with Kansas City. How about you? How do you feel?
Well, I was just thinking about young Fred Washington. I felt sympathies for his family. Gannon over the middle, and it's Alfred Anderson. No, Allen Rice who has the catch to Raider territory, and Gannon came very close to crossing the line of scrimmage, and that'll pick up a big first down.
Yeah, what a tragedy for the Bears to overcome.
And Washington and the companion killed in an auto accident the night ago in Chicago. A young player, and I know the entire Bear family is suffering with that. Young people aren't supposed to die so quickly. 6:55 left, and Rich Gannon trying to muster something here for Minnesota, although the Raiders have a big lead at 28-10. Vince Evans, number 11, maybe down the field get some action here with the Raiders enjoying the sizable lead.
This would be a good move by the Raiders because Vince needs some work in case of a Jim Kelly incident or something of that nature. The more work he can get in, the better at this point in the year.
Delaware. Anthony Carter, 40, a gain of 8. Aaron Wallace makes the tackle.
Gannon's shown when he comes outside with the ball, when he scrambles, he's got excellent instincts.
He was drafted by New England in the 4th round in '87, and then the Vikings traded for him a 4th and 11th pick. He's going long for Chris Carter. Carter steals it at the 4. He's not one of those little wide receivers, Chris Carter. At 6'3" and 200, he's physical, and he beats 2 Raiders to it.
He just took it away, as you said. Look, it's been intercepted, and his arm strength and hand strength just yanked it out of there.
Elvis Patterson and Eddie Anderson, they're not exactly weaklings back there themselves. Gannon on 1st and goal. Touchdown. Hassan Jones.
Gannon's got that spontaneity that you need. He can come outside, make a play, move, make a play. It's just a matter of him developing the needed touch to play the position full time. But that was a good comeback. Nice job of finding a man very, very late in the play.
Hassan Jones' 7th touchdown catch of the year. Anthony Carter with 8 leads the team. And now the booing from the crowd as the announcement that the play will be reviewed. See if he was along that baseline.
He wanted to throw left. Now he's got enough athletic ability to get outside. It looks okay. To get outside of Howie Long, who's a little bit fatigued by now.
His knees hit in the end zone. Should be a touchdown. But in the old world of instant replay, nothing is certain.
Both knees, hand. I can't see how they'd reverse that call.
Play does stand. Last of the Viking horn to celebrate as Hassan Jones has a 4-yard touchdown reception. Reves to try to make it 28-17. 5:49 remaining. Vikings still with a slim hope. Well, Jay Schroeder, as you mentioned, the time you want your quarterback to be hot is going toward the playoffs, and Schroeder's 4 touchdowns today. That's the first 4 TD game as a Raider. And where it appeared Vince Evans might get some work, now Schroeder peels off the jacket. Raiders looking for the onside kick. Reves just hits it very high and short. Jamie Holland at the 20. Ken Stills hits him first at about the 27.
I think that high short kick, they were hoping to kick it higher and shorter and be underneath it when it got there. But no hope on that. No hope on it at all. Jay Schroeder, the Raiders have thrown less than anybody in the NFL.
Far less.
And Jay's got the best average per attempt, which is very, very good. That's probably the critical ingredient in the Raider offense, that average per attempt. And today he just compounded his success. And so each week now, as you see, Dick, in the last 4 now, he's gotten better and better and better.
And with Bo Jackson in there, and the defense is so frightened of what Jackson can do, the way he can strike so quickly. And that gives Schroeder a chance to pick his spots. And oh, there goes Bo, just carrying men with him out to the 40-yard line and a gain of 11. You know, Ray Ellison, or Ricky Ellison, who played with the 49ers for you, and now inside backer with the Raiders. You were talking with him yesterday. He was the last man to leave the field. In fact, as he did some stretching, he's talking about the days of the 49ers and now with the Raiders.
Well, he says the Raiders now are much like his championship 49er team of 1984. The atmosphere, the attitude. This is an intense guy. Howie Long said when Ricky first arrived, Bo Jackson wasn't there practicing yet. Howie told Ricky, we have our own Joe Montana, number 34. And it's pretty evident they do. But Ricky came to the 49ers as a 5th-round draft choice and proved to be a starting player and one of the most intense guys I've ever seen.
Got a timeout at the 4:46 mark.
Guys, that look in his eye, Dick, is a guy consumed and in love with the game of football. We drafted him in, as I said, the 5th round, and he had a terrible knee coming from USC, and has managed to play on it ever since without any troubles. But
that knee is bandaged right now, in fact.
3 straight times, 3 straight years in college, he had a problem with it. He's a Southern Cal guy, a USC guy. His fourth child, his son, he just named him Troy. Troy. So he's being teased about that.
He had a dog named Troy. So here goes Bo Jackson to the 45 and a first down. The Raiders making Minnesota use their timeouts. They have only 1 remaining. Ken Stills with a tackle, and let's take a look at Bo right at you.
This is when Bo can get his yardage, because the Minnesota defense is letting up just a little bit. They're a little fatigued, and now his strength and power can just tear through people.
Now 44 yards in the second half after gaining just a handful in the first half. 58 on the game now for Bo.
That Minnesota defense just a little fatigued now, letting down some. They can see the game's getting quickly out of reach, and now you take someone like Bo slashing through him, and he'll get his yards.
Raider letting that clock run under 4 minutes now. And Jackson to the 43. Henry Thomas in on that tackle. Thomas, high praise from the Minnesota coaching staff. With Millard's injury, they moved Thomas to Millard's spot, and they feel he's had 7 sacks, a lot of tackles. This 4th-year man from LSU is probably benefited away from Millard's absence. Now they know they've got another outstanding player in Thomas.
He'd come in, and my guess is that he and Millard will start next year, and that's 2 really outstanding guys on the inside. So they do have talent, and they just need a year to recoup.
Schrader using that play clock, letting it tick down. 5-4. Game clock at 3:10 now. Jackson to the outside.
He got 5 yards there, Dick, and everyone had an angle on him. Everyone knew where he was going once he bounced, and everyone sprinted, and he had another 5 yards to go further than they did, and he still outran people. Watch him start in, now watch him bend, and it's a foot race. Everybody's after him. Watch him just motor around everyone.
We were talking about his baseball work here at the Metrodome, and the fact he only hit about 170 career-wise and 4 home runs. But I asked him, I said, if you played full-time here, how many home runs do you think you might hit in the season? And his eyes got really big and flashed that wonderful smile. And he wanted to say 50, and he said, well, easy average of 40.
40.
Oh, that would be a mismatch to have him hitting here 81 games a year.
Well, why is that, Dick? Is it a short
the ball really,
it really
the ball
takes
really
off?
jumps in here, and with his power, he doesn't need any extra help. And Kansas City is a tough ball home run ballpark.
So indoors, the ball is livelier, and
it's a smaller yard basically than the Royal Stadium. I saw you shopping there. You know, the Skyways here in Minneapolis, even with the cold weather, to your benefit. I mean, you were out there on a shopping binge. I mean, you wore out 3. You know, your credit card was actually smoldering at the meeting last night.
Please don't tell the family I'm waiting till today to do my shopping.
Well, I'm
Please
just kind of
don't
lead
tell.
into what you're going to, what you want for Christmas. Marcus Allen. And that'll be Minnesota's last time out. Okay, I'll tell you what I want in case you're about ready to buy me something, okay? You know what I want is one of those old typewriters, you know, like the Smith Corona, the old black typewriters, not electronic, because I think with my hands, and I'm always jamming the keys on the electric typewriter. So that's what I'd like.
I think we've got one of those in the garage, Dick. That'll
See
be
that
easy.
with that kind there, I couldn't work that way because my fingertips are too heavy.
You know, what I'd like most is to play on that grass at Wimbledon one time. No one there, hopefully. But just play one time on that grass at Wimbledon.
Well, we got some Santas here. We'll see what we can do. He said, are you out of your... Look at Santa. I think Santa got himself into a little scuffle. You know, those elves can get tough about this time of the year.
I'd hate to have him headed for my place. Because I don't think he's going to need a lot of help finding chimneys.
He's about to take a 10 count.
He's on his way somewhere, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that'll, you get to ringing that bell a little too hard at
He
night.
left the North Pole just a few days early.
Boy.
What a tragedy.
Oh, that's...
Oh, Mrs. Santa doesn't find out.
Elliot Kalb's ticket, too. Bo Jackson smothered in the backfield on 3rd and 2. No first down as we tick it off to the 2-minute timeout. Ho, ho, ho.
And a try for field goal by Jaeger. He hooks it again to the left. No good. A 46-yard attempt. Jaeger had missed from 44 in the first half.
You know, a guy that's really been helpful with this Raider team is Kim Helton, the offensive line coach. He's done a brilliant job. This ball, I think, is hooked again, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks good halfway there, and then at the end it tails to the left.
But this Kim Helton has come in and really put this offensive line together. Done a great job with it. He's got a Montoya coming in late, Steve Wright, Graves having his problems a year ago with his holding, Wisniewski developing. The Raiders have really put together an excellent offensive line.
Now Minnesota with no timeouts left, and at least trying to seek a cosmetic score here at the end. Trailing 28-17 will take 2 touchdowns for Minnesota. Down the middle to Hassan Jones. Trying to get to the sidelines and fails. Torrin Dorn got him from behind with Elvis Patterson.
The Raiders want sacks. That front four that's going after that ball can just, they know where the ball is going every time, and they're going to just come flying up that field.
Anthony Carter left with Steve Gordon in the slot. Jones and Chris Carter the other way, and it's Chris Carter. Elvis Patterson, the veteran, makes the tackle. Patterson, there's another one of those acquisitions, Plan B from San Diego by Al Davis. Former New York Giant. He can help you in that dime coverage, and he's a terrific special teams player. Called him Toast. That was Bill Parcells' nickname. He was burned so often at the corner for the Giants, but he's found a role that he can play. The toss to Jordan, the tight end spinning down to the 36 of the Raiders with 56 seconds left.
Well, that's what Al Davis looks for, are people to play roles, specific people, and he's looking for any number of things that people can do, stopping the clock, to help the team. And a lot of organizations don't recognize that at all. He's saying, what can this guy do to help us? Sometimes it's the simplest of things, punt and kickoff coverage, or the man can return kickoffs. He can play in one situation, the nickel defense, but he puts those kinds of people together. And you know, Art Shell has been able to bring all these personalities together, and that takes a real job. And this guy is quiet, with wisdom, a lot of strength, and all these personalities. Just think of Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson, two pretty damn proud guys, playing in the same backfield, alternating with each other. And Art has done that magnificently.
And perhaps the most important part of it, as Gannon eludes a rush. That went up for grabs, but it'll be out of the end zone. And Gannon really got crushed from behind. He's okay. Perhaps the most important role that Shell plays with the Raiders is he is on the same page with Al Davis. There's no argument there.
No question about it. Now, this is what concerns me about the National Football League. The referee's right with Gannon. The ball is thrown. Now they hit it.
Yeah, but that was within a step that time.
Well, they can see the ball thrown, though, Dick. That's just an attitude that people have. Now, that one may or may not have been called, but generally they're allowing too much contact on the quarterbacks when the defender knows the quarterback doesn't have the ball.
3rd down and 10. 39 seconds for the Vikings, trailing 28-17. Over the middle to Chris Carter, and he's tackled from behind by Torrin Dorn at the 15. Again, it just wants to get up there and release down the ball. Uh-oh, here comes some flags. Is that Dozier in there? DJ Dozier, who has been a forgotten man in Minnesota. That's one of the problems we haven't mentioned. He elected to play in the Mets minor league baseball organization and didn't report to the Vikings until November 7th. And Carter was trying to get up, and Dozier decided to come in and try to help him out.
Yeah, he was being held by the ankle, so they couldn't get the next play off. There's no question about it. Here's Dorn holding on to Carter after the play. And that's where Dozier showed up.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 46 of the defense.
Usually it's the second man, Dozier, who would get the penalty because that's what they say, but they did spot Dorn holding on. That does stop the clock. Dozier, by the way, the Mets feel he's like their number 4 player in the minor leagues, an outfielder, good hitting outfielder, and some are wondering where he will be next year, whether it'll be baseball. I don't think he's going to be here. He doesn't want to be here, and if he stays in the NFL, it'll probably be by way of a trade.
He was a great back coming out of Penn State. I know with the 49ers, we'd like very much to have him as the replacement for Roger Craig at some point. And he's never quite done it in the National Football League.
Always says
minor injuries, a lot of minor injuries. Now, am I reading the paper right? They said his problem in baseball is playing the outfield. Now, generally,
he doesn't have a great arm.
Is that what it is? Oh, I see.
But he can hit. So it'll be first and goal after the penalty. 26 seconds left for Gannon and the Vikes. And another sack for the Raiders, and that'll about do it as Aaron Wallace, the rookie, he's had maybe 3 today, depending on how they see it officially. A flag is down at the 1-yard line.
Very well could be holding defensively. And that's what Gannon was going to the referee about.
Dale Hamer.
Holding. Number 46 in the defense. After the distance to the goal. First down.
The rookie Torrin Dorn, I love that name for a defensive player, was doing just that. And they mark it half the distance to the 3.5 with 19 seconds left.
Left, it's always left kick.
For a touchdown by Steve Jordan. Boy, that was a Pro Bowl reception.
Well, the Vikings haven't given up, you know that for sure. This is a great job by Gannon, finally finding him in the back of the end zone. He looked left, he looked right, and then right down the middle. So I can see why the coaches like Gannon. At some point, he could very well be a top guy.
Jordan with a 3-yard touchdown reception to make it 28-23, but time down to 15 seconds. So even a successful onside kick would leave the Vikings a long distance from a touchdown. Reves hits the extra point to make it 28-24. Jordan with his 3rd touchdown. Our executive producer, Terry O'Neill. Coordinating producer, John Faratzis. Directed by John Gonzalez. Assistant Director John McGinnis, who is the Super Bowl creator. Production Associate Carol Larson. And our thanks to Elliot Kalb and our help in the booth. Ron and Larry Cullis and all the men and women, especially our technicians and camera guys who it's cozy inside for us, but they had to do all their setup, cable work outside, and really brutal weather here in the upper Midwest. And a happy holidays from all of them to all of you.